Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, it's been a while. I think I was suffering from a little bit of burnout, just needed to take a break for about a month. But even during that month, I was still restoring some parts. You can see we've got a random collection of things here to install. And no, Bear's not gonna be running by the end of this episode, but we're gonna be like 1, 2, 3 steps closer to that happening. As you can see, we got a distributor that's new, and I'll show you why. We've got a carburetor that's been rebuilt and a bunch of other parts that have been restored and repainted and all kinds of stuff. So AC compressor and brackets, and we got some belts, you name it. So anyways, let me get Bear in the garage and we'll get started. Okay, we got all this stuff. Where do we start? I'm gonna just go ahead and start with the e-brake system. We got the pedal assembly here, 2 nuts on the firewall, and a bolt that goes this way up into the dashboard frame. Pretty simple. You see I removed the door because 1, it's just easier to get to, and 2, I need to take that home and strip the paint off of it and get it in epoxy primer. Yeah, we're rolling into Bodywork after this video. Actually, I've already started. We'll get to that later. But anyways, let's put this e-brake pedal in and then run the cables to the back. All right, next up is our brake cable that connects to the pedal and then goes down to the rear cable that controls both rear e-brakes. Now on the interior side, if you will, there's this funny little guy with legs that stick out. It's a good idea to take a screwdriver and kind of pop them out a little bit so when he goes through the body, he locks in place. And then we'll be able to run this cable up to the pedal. And like I said, down here, there's an equalizer that runs a cable to both rear wheels. Okay, our cable comes down right alongside the subframe. Notice there's 2 holes here, 2 holes right here. That's for you know, hold downs for this cable. Now what the cable does now is it passes through this oval window right here and comes out the other side. Okay, I've got my rear brake cable connected to the intermediate cable or the pedal cable. Just this little bracket here and a nut that we can tighten or loosen to adjust. These 2 legs of the cable, you'll see one is going to be a little bit longer than the other because it's got to go over to the rear passenger side. So we're just going to go ahead and get our little brackets or connectors, whatever you want to call them. They look like this. So one side goes in, then you grab the cable coming off the rear, it goes in just like so. Easy peasy. Okay, this side is the longer side. We're gonna put this in here like so. That guy goes on. And then what I do with the other one, here we go. Goes in. Now we got a lot of slop here, and that's okay. We tighten this nut right here, and that'll get us set up. Yeah, looking good. Okay, got my two transmission cooler lines here. Obviously they're different looking, so that makes it easy. Upper part of the radiator, lower part of the radiator. These are not connected in any way right now. So I think what I want to do is the lower one. So we're going to set that guy over there. And boy, this is nice with no fenders. You can just fish this right down through here, hopefully. We've got a kick down cable here that I can kind of get out of the way. Just set that over there. We can fish this guy down. I'm hoping this is doable. It's been a while. Let's see how we want to do this, Brian. You know that point where you start thinking, man, I wish I would have put those in before I put the powertrain in, but you know, here we are. All right, hold that thought. Like this. Whew! You almost saw me go into panic mode, guys. I thought, oh no, I gotta take the engine and jack it up to get these cooler lines in, because I was thinking they went on this side of the motor mount, where they actually go on this side of the motor mount, and guess what? Looks like I can install these from down below. Woo! So that's the lower line. Let's get the upper line. Looks like I gotta go this way. Yes, it's a little chaotic right now, but we'll get it, Okay, not a problem. Come on, guy. Can you just stay still? Get on this side of the sway bar. That line's gonna fall out and hit the floor, but that's okay. Okay, yes. Yes. Okay, so we've got our, this is gonna be the upper line on the radiator. So we're gonna go ahead and get this guy started. Couple threads. Here's the lower line. There you go. I think we got them started. So we're not going to go much more than that right now. We need to hook up the radiator connections. And once everybody's tightened up or started, then we'll tighten it up. Yeah, I find it a little strange that this being a police car, in California, in traffic, they didn't put a transmission cooler on this guy. I mean, maybe they did. I see no evidence of it. Of course, you know, this radiator and whatnot could maybe not be original to the vehicle because he's got so many miles on him, but again, I would have thought they ran an external cooler. Since he's not going back into use, or at least service, he's going to be kind of a cruiser show museum vehicle, hopefully. You don't really need the external cooler, but if any of you 9C1 guys know, throw it down in the comments. I'd be curious. We got those tightened pretty good. We're going to go ahead, get back under the car and tighten our connections at the transmission. And the last bit we have on the transmission is the speedometer cable. All right, guys, next up is the speedometer cable. Good idea to do if you're restoring a vehicle, you got your Speedo cable out, is hang it like so, pour some transmission fluid in the top of it, and just let it sit for a couple days. That stuff will trickle down through here and drip out the other end. It's a good way to lubricate the inner workings of the cable. It'll keep the noise down. You ever see a speedometer where the needle is like jumping around as you're driving? That's this thing binding up most likely. So a little bit of transmission fluid will go a long way. So this guy, we got a little rubber pass-through cup for the firewall. Little hole in the firewall here. We're gonna run this up through, and we'll make sure it goes through the dash in just the right spot. And then this little pass-through doohickey rubber thing supposedly just clips in place. Of course, it's giving me an issue right now, but we'll take care of that in a second. Let's route this cable. Okay, I got it to clip in place. Just a little rubber guy here. Cable can pass through there. Again, we're running that cable so it comes out kind of where the speedometer would be in the dash, even though it's not there right now. And it's going to come down alongside the subframe. Well, if you remember earlier, I had the e-brake cable and I put a little clamp here. Yeah, that's not how that works. So this guy just flops around out in space from what I gather. I had to go back and look at my old disassembly videos to see how that went, but we're gonna go ahead and take this bracket off because we have two brackets on our Speedo cable and they actually go into those holes. So I guess it helps to have a YouTube channel. You can go back and check yourself. So the cable comes right over top of the subframe here. Plugs in. Got this little screw type connection. This is not tighten it as hard as you can. This is just get it seated, make sure it's snug like so, and we are good. So we've got it routed where we need it. Okay guys, while we're under here, we're gonna install at least the Y pipe, right? Let's get that in place. Got a couple brackets that need to be installed. This one goes in here like so, and then this guy, yeah, something like that, and then the Y pipe will connect to this dude. So I need to take the transmission mount bolts loose so I can slip this in there and retorque them, and we'll get moving. Okay, I gotta take a break. I gotta go home, eat some lunch, let the dogs out. We're gonna drop this door off, and I'll show you what I was working on at home. Okay, fenders and a hood. Do you remember this last year? Stripped them down to bare steel, epoxy primer. Yeah. If you also remember, The passenger side fender looked like it got shot with a shotgun, and the hood was like an oil can. Doop, 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 doop. Really thin steel, bad stuff. Steve, Bear's owner, came up with a good used fender and a good used hood. I spent some time stripping them down this week and reapplying epoxy primer to them. So now we're back to square one. We got two really good fenders with a couple dings here and there. We'll straighten that out. But the goal here is let's get the whole car in epoxy, and then we'll start shooting some high build primer and do our body work. So that's where we're at. We're gonna take these down to the shop, hang them on Bear, so I have somewhere to put them because, you know, can't store all this stuff in my garage. And one other thing is air cleaner assembly. It's still drying. This is a low gloss black. Looks really good, but again, it's still drying. We gotta wait a couple days, so we're not gonna be installing this in this episode, probably next episode. So let's head back down to the shop. We're gonna get back at it here. We're gonna start with our gas pedal throttle. Real easy. This plastic piece bolts to the firewall. This slides through here like so, and two bolts. Now the thing you gotta do, you can't just bolt this to the firewall and then hope you're gonna slip this pedal in. It doesn't really work that way. They don't give you enough room to do it, at least on this body style. What I'm gonna do is go inside the car. I'm gonna put this through the big metal opening where this bracket goes. We'll slide it on and then we'll bolt it to the firewall. So like I said, just go in here, kind of set that in place. This works out really good if you have a helper. If you don't, well, you can still do it. Just slide it on to there and get it in place. I think we should be good. I'm gonna just start these two bolts. There is an E-clip that'll hold the other end. I'll show you in a second. I've got this little E-clip. There's a slot for this guy. Hopefully I can do this without losing the clip. I'm gonna need some pliers. Okay. Now we can just tighten these two bolts up. And we're good to go. Okay, next up is our throttle cable. What I like to do, I got a little butyl here. I'm gonna put this around the base of the cable where it passes through the firewall. This is just some like black dum-dum gooey stuff. That way we don't get any water leaks in the future. Goes right here. There's one bolt that holds that guy. Okay, looks good. Look at that, it's even bent like it's been there before, right? Very nice. So let's hook it to the gas pedal. All right, a little difficult to see here. I've got a little plastic insert. It just pops into the pedal itself. I'm gonna do this one-handed, just pulled it out. Now what we do is we run the cable through that hole, and then this little guy is slotted. Can you see that? So that'll allow the cable to go through that little slot, and then we just push it into the pedal. Okay, can you see what I did there? And then that guy will just push right into that. That's how we want it. And then the slop will be taken up once we get the carburetor on. Okay guys, we're gonna put the distributor in, and in order to do that, I had to find top dead center. So I took out number one spark plug, held my thumb over the spark plug hole and started cranking the engine by hand until I felt a little bit of pressure pushing back on my thumb. That tells me we're getting on the compression stroke. So I just looked at my timing pad and kind of dialed in. I'm about 4 degrees before top dead center. So that's what we're going to start with. One thing on the distributor, on Bears anyways, is this is his original distributor. I started to disassemble this guy to clean it all up, put it back together again. We know it worked. I noticed a few things. This bushing down here at the bottom, it's cracked. So that is no bueno. And one other thing I did notice was the vacuum advance, nothing, no suction. This is garbage. So, Napa was a little pricey. I go on Summit Racing, $350 distributor. Comes just like this, new vacuum advance, all brand new. This is billet aluminum. We've got a new rotor on it. Doesn't come with a cap or a coil, but we got those. 76 bucks or something like that. So can't go wrong. You know, that's a no-brainer at this point. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this guy in and make sure we line this up with number 1 on the distributor cap, and then torque it down and keep on moving. Okay, I've got my distributor here in my hands. I've got the cap is just loose for right now. We're gonna put this aside. This right here is number 1 on the cap, and then I put a little mark on the housing of the distributor itself, so we know where number 1 is. Now we can just get this guy out of here, and the goal is to line this rotor up with number 1. Now our engine, like I said, is already at number 1. So this is gonna drop down in. Should probably get some of this stuff out of the way. Now, what we're running into is the oil pump. There's a slotted shaft that comes up and meets the distributor, the bottom here. So we gotta get that matched up. And then these gears, they actually turn a little bit when you install. So what I'm gonna do is get a long screwdriver so I can move the oil pump. This might take several in and outs, who knows? Okay, now we've got it seated, but what I'm running into is the vacuum advance is going to hit the transmission dipstick. Now I can move this tube over, but I think I want to just get a little bit further over. So it's going to involve us pulling this guy out and moving the oil pump just a little bit. Try it again. Here we go. I think we hit the jackpot. It's going to allow us to move this quite a bit. And I'm at number 1 right there. So we're going to get our clamp and a bolt. We're going to tighten this down, put our cap on, and move right along. All right, I've got the hold down tightened up. We're gonna go ahead and put our cap on. Okay, since we're back here at the distributor area, I've got this little plug I can remove now. This is something I had to block off where the oil pressure switch goes. Now we got our brand new oil pressure switch, courtesy of Napa. It just screws in just like that. One more important sensor is our coolant temp sense, which goes into the cylinder head here. I got a little bit of thread sealer on the threads. We're going to go ahead and thread that in. Okay, a couple more things here. We got a throttle cable, plugs in. Right there. And kick down cable, it's over there. I gotta work it around. Yeah, I had to take these two intake bolts out to get this bracket on. This runs a vacuum line up to the booster. So, very important little guy. And then we just gotta tighten this connection at the back of the carburetor, the base I should say. Now I can run my kickdown cable from the transmission through this square hole in the bracket and up to the carburetor. So it clicks into place, and then this guy comes up. Okay. All right, we've got a few things done so far. Let's move on to this monster of a AC compressor. Get that guy on, and then some belts. Pretty much done for the day. So let's get this guy going here. Woo, I broke a sweat. Those belts are no joke. So, if you have a 350 AC smog engine, here are your belts from Napa. These are theirs numbers. The alternator belt is a 7480. The AC belt is a 7550. And the power steering is a 7420. Those will fit. Again, as long as you have AC and smog, those are your belts. They will fit perfect. I found that, yes, you put the AC belt on first, but don't snug it down just yet. Then put your power steering belt on. That's the one you want to tighten. Get that one tight. After that's tight, do your AC, and then you can move on to the alternator belt. And we're going to move on to some AC lines. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around if you made it this far. Got a lot done today. We didn't really end this episode on a grand note. Next time we touch this powertrain, though, I promise you, it'll be running. Now, did you notice I haven't put a wiring harness in this guy yet? And that's because his wiring harness is crap. It's spliced into, cut up, broken connectors. We're still searching for the right wiring harness for him. We're getting there. But I promise you, next time we touch that engine, we'll have it running that episode. So maybe in a month or so. Anyways, until then, we're going to be doing some more body work because it is June 1st, and believe it or not, it's not raining here in Pittsburgh, which is terrific. So I've got to take advantage of this, you know, as much as I can. So look for doors to get disassembled, stripped, epoxied. I also got to work on the HVAC system, the box, the heater core, and all that. So we got a couple projects coming up. I gotta get right back and get this train back on the tracks and get this guy ready for paint. So we gotta move quick. Again, if you're still around, you're like one of 230 folks that show up every episode and watch this guy come to life. I appreciate it, I really do. It's fun. So I hope you guys are having fun watching it. But until next time, you have a good one. I will see you later.